Now, one of the most decorated African-American military pilots, Charles McGee, has died at the age of 102. An original member of the Tuskegee Airmen, an all-black aviation unit formed during the Second World War. Mr. McGee flew hundreds, in fact, of combat missions during that war and the Korean and Vietnam conflicts. He also fought against segregation in the US military, saying the Tuskegee Airmen had tried to ignore the laws then in place and instead took the chance to prove that they could fly planes. Well, he proved that much clearly, didn't he? We're joined from Springfield in Virginia by Stephen Losey, who is air warfare reporter for Defence News. Stephen, thanks very much for joining us. It sounds like quite a character.
Yes, he was a very fascinating man. He became a Tuskegee Airman when he started training in 1942. He went to Europe and he became part of the 332nd Fighter Group. He flew P-51 Mustang fighters with brightly colored red tail. He and the other Tuskegee Airmen flew fighters with brightly colored red tails, which gave them their nickname on many bomber escort missions over Europe. And they quickly became known as some of the best bomber escorts that could be found in Europe. And their track record spoke for itself.
And so presumably it was precisely that, their performance levels, that then led gradually, as it was, to the sort of desegregation across the forces. Yes.
A few short years after World War II, in 1949, the Air Force began to desegregate and the rest of the U.S. military followed. And part of the reason is because the track record of Charles McGee and the other Tuskegee Airmen was so good that nobody could deny anymore that they were worthy service members. Remember, about a century ago, it was official U.S. military policy that Black people weren't intelligent or disciplined enough to fly aircraft. The Tuskegee Airmen shattered all of those stereotypes.
Well, he takes an amazing legacy with him in that case. You did meet him, didn't you? What was he like?
I did. I interviewed him about 5 years ago. I found him to be a fascinating man, very open and willing to share his stories and his opinions. What I was struck most by was his thoughtfulness. He was, very willing to share his war stories, but he was also very concerned about what he saw as, his concerns about rising discord and disunity and inequality in the country. And, and he had concerns about whether women and minorities in the military would continue to have the opportunities that he and others had fought for. But what I most recall was he was a man who was very aware of the role that he and his wingmen played in not only winning the war, but also making their country better. And he felt justifiably proud for the role he did.
I can imagine why. It's fairly clear. What an extraordinary force of nature, possibly, in terms of his legacy, at least. Stephen, thank you very much indeed for that.
Thank you.